And what we have to recognize is what's going on in our society now with all these non-logical things that are going on. This is not an accident. This was intentional. All you have to do is look at the congressional record. January the 10th, 1963, Congressman Herlong of Florida read into the record the 45 goals of communism in America. There were things like gaining control of the school systems and the teacher unions so that you can indoctrinate the kids, gaining control of the media, television, and Hollywood so that you could change the culture in America, making sexual perversion normal, natural, and healthy, denigrating the role of fathers in the family, denigrating the role of the family in general, and subjugating it to the government, driving wedges between parents and children. Just right down the line, you can see all the things they were doing because they realized that our country was much too strong to overcome militarily, but it could be destroyed from within by attacking our faith and our families. And have you noticed family formation is lagging in our country now? People are not getting married. They're not having children. In the 60s, the average birth per woman was 3.6, and now it is 1.6. We have a real significant problem there that we really need to start thinking about and dealing with, quite frankly. And where do kids get their values from? They get them from their family traditionally, but if you don't have families forming, then they're going to get them from other places, and they're going to get them from someplace. Social media, school. It was a tremendous thing yesterday when the Supreme Court decided on behalf of parents that parents had the right to determine what their children learned in school, and not all of this left-wing stuff that's going on. But how easily could it have gone the other way? And they also made the decision that these rogue judges, federal judges, couldn't make national law. That is an incredible save for us as a nation, but look how close we were to fundamentally changing our nation. And this is why it's so important that every one of us be very, very active. That's why we formed the American Cornerstone Institute, which looked at the cornerstone principles that made America great. Our faith, think about that. Our Judeo-Christian values would teach us to love your neighbor, not to hate your neighbor, not to try to cancel your neighbor if they have a different yard sign, but to love your neighbor. Liberty, the ability to lead the life that you want to lead as long as it's not interfering with the lives of other people. Community, the sense of working together. If you look at the writings of the founders of this nation, there's a phrase that they use a lot, the common good. What's good for all the people? Not good what's good for this group versus that group, but what works for all of us. Something we need to really get back to. I mean, if it was harvest time and Mr. Jones broke his leg, everybody else harvested his crops. Didn't matter what his religion was, didn't matter what his politics were. He was their neighbor and he needed help. This is something that we have to get back to and recognize that we're not enemies. We, W-R-A, not in enemies, E, wane. We've let hatred and division wax for a long time. It's time to let it wane if we really want to elevate ourselves as a nation. What a difference that makes. And bring God back into our lives. Again, and not allow the secularists and the leftists to make us lose our faith. Remember, this is a country that is unique in the sense that our founding document says that our rights come from our Creator and not from government. Therefore, our rights cannot be taken from us by government. It's something that we have to be willing to fight for and understand. And I look at my own life. There I was, an angry teenager. At one point, I tried to stab another youngster, and the only thing that saved him is he had a large metal belt buckle on under his clothing, and the knife blade broke, and he fled in terror. But I was more terrified than he was, recognizing that I was trying to kill somebody over nothing. And I locked myself in the bathroom, and I started thinking, and I started praying, and I started reading the Bible. And I realized that the reason that I was so angry is because I was selfish, and that I should take myself out of the center of the equation and put somebody else in there. And that solved my anger problem. But what does it tell you about the good Lord? He took the knife out of the hands of an angry teenager meant to harm people and replaced it with a scalpel to save lives. That's the kind of God that we serve. He also has a sense of humor because That day, I started reading from the book of Proverbs. And I start every day and I end every day that way until this very day. And who wrote the book of Proverbs? Solomon. Well, my middle name happens to be Solomon, so he knew that I was going to have that affinity. And when Solomon became the king of Israel, what was the first thing he did that brought him great fame? 2 women came to him claiming to be the mother of the same baby. And what did he say? He said, divide the babies. Well, isn't that when I became very well known, when I divided babies too? So he has a very great sense of humor, something that we should keep in mind. And when I became Secretary of HUD, someone came to me, a high government official, and said, we are delighted. We are so happy that you are here. I know it's going to make a big difference for us all. But you have to stop all this God stuff. I told him to go jump in the lake because we don't need to stop the God stuff. We need to remember the God stuff and elevate the God stuff and bring God back to the center of our lives. Thank you so much.